Hello and welcome to CWB Live's Coaching Conversations. I'm sitting down today with veteran actor and coach Brendan Taylor. How you doing, Brendan?
I'm very good. How you guys doing?
I really appreciate you coming on the show and doing this. We wanted to get to know the coaches that are a part of our new CWB Live program, and we had wanted to work with you for such a long time. You've got a really impressive background. What I thought was so interesting about where you come from, Brendan, is more than just an acting coach. You are a working actor. You're out there doing it. And I think anytime you have an opportunity to work with a coach that can truly understand what actors are going through on the front lines of it, I think it makes for such a more visceral and compelling experience for them. Did you always think you were going to get into coaching? What was the draw there for you?
Yeah, honestly, it just kind of fell into it. It became sort of a natural part of my day because, well, especially nowadays, self-tapes are just kind of the thing. It was about 4 years ago I started collecting gear and doing self-tapes for myself, and then I'm like, I might as well get some lights and I get a backdrop and I get a microphone, and then built it up. And I'm also kind of a techie kind of person too, so and like I like photography, so I bought a decent camera and then started taping my friends. And then I'm like, well, this is something that I feel like I'm providing a service, and it's not just maybe a favor anymore, and I can reach out to other people. And it just kind of sort of fell into my lap, and it's become something that I really enjoy. I really get a lot of gratification out of helping steer someone, giving an outside eye to the audition, because I know just as well as anyone how confusing or disorienting or it can be when you're in it, and when you have a experienced eye outside of it looking in, you just get a better perspective and a better end result.
And I guess congratulations to you booking a new series role on Netflix. Can you tell us a little bit about that project? I think you're going into production soon on that.
Actually, no, we finished production last year. It was actually one of the last shows that actually fully camera wrapped
right before. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's in the can. It's called Firefly Lane. It's coming out on Netflix, based on a book by Kristen Hanna. She's a popular novelist, and that is, I'm hearing rumors of dropping on Netflix in the next few months, but also sort of, thankfully, it's probably one of the only new shows that's like ready to drop.
Yeah,
hasn't been shooting, so I'm very excited for that.
When you look at the power of what happened as a result of that global hiatus and bringing everyone to a more virtual experience like we're having right now, you've been coaching a long time too. What's your response to the technology? Do you feel like anything is lost in this new way that you're going to interface with your clients? Can you still achieve all the same things you like to when you were literally in the room with your clients or on set with your colleagues? How do you react to the technology right now? What do you think of it virtually?
Well, it is obviously, it's going to be different, and different can be uncomfortable, but just like anything else, you do it more and you kind of get used to it. I know and talk to other colleagues who've been doing Zoom coachings and online stuff, and yeah, it's a bit different at first, but you just kind of get used to it, just like anything else. Like, even from an actor's perspective standpoint, like, you could put yourself in, like, maybe this is the way that you have to deal with this character. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is life now, and this is how we deal with it, like, which is kind of how things are. So, like, if you had to have, if you having trouble around the medium, you could just sort of place yourself, well, this is the reality. Like, how do I deal with this? So, there's ways around it, and yeah, so long as your connection is good and it's pretty on time, I think it can still work out the same. And it's our job as well as actors to use our imagination, right? I mean, if I'm taping someone, I still tape people in the studio, my home studio, by the way, but the same thing happens when I'm doing it too. You're making imaginary eye lines and seeing things. You have maybe one reader, if you're lucky, who's there, but the rest is imagined anyway. So like what, you know,
Yeah, maybe nothing is really ever truly lost there. I think I look forward to how people are going to be able to make the new connections virtual. And I think they're going to be really surprised just how much work you can really get done this way, even when it takes you in your living room to have that experience. Talk to me, Brendan, about someone who has shaped your career. Do you approach coaching as a a response to the kinds of coaches you had building your career, or is it the opposite of that? Are you the kind of acting coach maybe you never had? What's your style like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think we can't help but integrate and include our own teachings and our own, the way we were taught. But then we also can't help but sort of find our own way. And if you've been acting for a while, you probably eventually learn that there is no right way to learn. There's no right technique that is a solve-all technique, and not everything works for everyone, and you just kind of integrate it all into the way that you do things. So yeah, someone for me and my teacher, I didn't have a traditional conservatory sort of training, but I ended up, it might as well have been, because we did 3-month terms, term after term, and it was just for several years. But my teacher, Kate Twa, she co-founded Railtown Actor Studio, which is here in Vancouver. Now
Great school, yeah.
Yeah, she's opened up a Tempest Theater in Penticton, actually, and she's bringing a high level of acting to the Okanagan, which is, I mean, we all know is a very big growing community. But she studied, she taught us the sort of ways of, trickled down from Stanislavski to Uta Hagen and Stella Adler of using what is already there, in you to working with the truthful place of where you're at. So, and I've really sort of integrated that into where you're at. I mean, there's no point in inventing stuff when you have so much underneath,
What would, when you're not working, when you're not on set, I love that you are into motorbikes and you work on your bike, and you've got a great background in production design. You're one of those guys who can do things that I can't. You're great with your hands and you think like an engineer. When you approach an actor who's got a challenge or something they're trying, a breakthrough that they want to make in a role or a particular character, is it the same way that you approach fixing that problem or trying to build that solution? Do you look at it from that part of your right brain, or is it a different experience altogether? How do you approach that?
It's funny. I mean, I'm sure that they are linked somehow, but the way that I've sort of put it, because I work on my motorcycle and my cars and stuff like that, and it used to be kind of a guilty pleasure because it's such an expensive hobby. I'm sorry, but it is. But
yeah, I'll bet.
but spending the money and the time on this when I should be all like focusing and reading acting books and this and that. And I kind of let it go for a while and sort of came back into my life. And what I learned from it, the value of, is that it is quite different. Because it became my sort of Zen activity, because it is actually, I feel, a different part of the brain, probably using the same kind of problem solving, but because everything is tangible and the results are immediate, and it's like, I did this in front of me, there's no, I replaced this part, this is different now it works. Acting is interpreting and creating and drawing in these things. So it's nice to sort of switch the brain to that, to sort of, you can't, it's like the binary, the 0 and 1, you can't have one without the other. To have a sort of outside perspective. So it helps to like exercise my brain in a balanced way. You can't do like arms all day and then you go to do the legs.
Right. You gotta keep it balanced.
You have to do both. You can't just do arms all the time. That kind of
thing. Are you an easy coach to work with? What are actors going to find working with? Are you drill sergeant? Are you hard? Do you give them that soft touch? What should actors expect after a session with Brandon Taylor?
I wouldn't say that I'm, I mean, I can be, it might depend on who I'm working with, but I'm not going to be hard out of the gates with someone when I'm learning new people. I think it's more valuable to, like I said, sort of work with people or where they're at, truthfully, because I mean, my teachers could be at times very hard, but that was after building a relationship and a trust with that. I think because, all of that behavior, I think with coaches comes from a place of wanting them to succeed. It's not like you're shitty, like, you
Sure.
I don't know if I can say that in here, but
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course. Tell it like it is.
You know what I mean? Like it's, I mean, if you're with that kind of coach, sorry, you might want to reevaluate that. But but some people are hard. The coaches have been with are hard because they care and they see a spark and they want you to jump on the instinct. So, I get more to that place with actors that I've become more.
And you're not afraid either. And you've actually, what I really encourage people to take a look at on your profile as well, which I think is so great, is whether they want to workshop something or do an acting session, you also are open and inviting to professional and career consultations. This is something where, especially when you look at your long history as a working actor, I think so many actors, sometimes it's not about an audition or something they're building for. Sometimes they've got real questions about, like you did when you were starting out, how to get where they want to get to, and when are which place to go, left or right, when they're looking at all sorts of business decisions as it relates. You're open to those kind of consults as well, right, Brendan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like it's important to offer that and be able to share that, because a lot of that's the typical story is the struggling actor trying to make it. And first of all, I came to it later in life. I really hunkered down when I was 25, 26. I got my agent when I was 27, 28. I did a bunch of other stuff in life, and then I found my way back to acting. And it was not for me a sort of, what do you call it, the light switch moment or the instant stardom situation. I worked my ass off to get to it, and it was a very slow transition of like scaling back my day job and getting more auditions and things like that. And I worked a tough job. I worked on film sets in set decoration. That was my job prior to this, and having working with that and finding a way to shift to the other side, and then having to not go back to that job for a few years now, knock on wood, here we go.
Yeah, right.
But so that struggle, I mean,
remember.
Yeah, just changing head to toe out of my muddy clothes, because we'd be working on a set outside, inhaling a Subway sandwich while driving my manual transmission car to an audition. They're running late.
The romance of it all.
Yeah, the glamorous industry.
Oh yeah,
this is what I'm all about. Yeah, I mean, it's I can speak to that. I know all about it, and I can explain and talk about what I did to push through and get to where I am, which and I don't take it for granted. Where don't get it twisted. There's no kicking back and kicking up your heels and now you post from here, unless you're a lead on a guaranteed 10 seasons maybe. Like other than that, like I'm still working hard and not taking for granted where I am. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to seeing where you're at in terms of.
I think that's so great, Brendan. And maybe to that point, I would. Before we wrap, I would encourage everyone to really take a look at your profile page below. They can book all kinds of sessions with you. We think so highly of the work you do, and having talked to so many of the people who've worked with you before, you really take. I love how authentic you really are with actors, and I think they're going to really enjoy working with you. To that point, Brendan, as we wrap, what would you say to prospective actors out there who are thinking about dipping their toe in the pool of virtual coaching? Any final thoughts that you would let them know about what it would be like working with you and what they should think?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend giving it a shot for sure, and thinking of it as a legit, way to learn. We're in a different time right now. We don't quite know when things are going to change, and I would say that as actors, as artists, acting is a thing you have to work at. You know, we think of the guitar player who can just pick up the guitar and learn a song all day. Like, acting is a little different. You need other people, you need other input. It's a little more complex. So I would encourage you to, you know, try this out and, you know, try sticking with it as a way of honing your craft and practicing your craft, so that when you're ready to go and you get that taping and audition, you send it in and boom, you're off the set and you feel good, rather than, you know, sitting around and catching up on like your latest YouTube channel.
Well said, my friend. And thank you for making the time for us today. It was awesome to catch up with you. For all of you who are looking at a session with Brendan, we encourage you to do so, and everything you'll need is below. Otherwise, Brendan, we'll catch you next time. And thanks for stopping in and chatting with us today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. See you guys.